Welcome to the From Code to C-Suite podcast.
No one does anything in this world for free.
Yeah.
Bottom line, okay, this is business and people do not do anything for free. But that lady for that property purchase was then charged £50,000.
50k.
50 grand in a hidden currency margin because an individual was able to say, the market's tanked.
And she was none the wiser.
But we're still getting you the best price on the day. So don't worry, don't worry about it. We've done the best we can by you.
Wow.
Now, if you're an individual who's not been exposed to currency exchange before, you're going to take a professional service provider's word for it.
Of course you are, yeah.
Of course you are. And so she was obviously very happy. And there we are clapping this individual.
No way.
We're going, well done. You've taken 50 grand off someone without them knowing it. You're the most talented salesperson in the room.
Most small businesses have no idea how much they are really paying every time they move money across borders. In this episode, Ellis pulls the lid off the FX industry. From manufactured spreads and margin creeping to the legal threats he faced when he walked away to build Glide. If you are sending money overseas for your business, you need to hear this.
No way.
Creeping, margin creeping.
Creeping every time because the trust is there, yeah.
Yeah, the generally, the general standard term is called margin creeping. You can ask anyone broker what margin creeping is, I'll tell you. I want to pump thousands of pounds into ruining your life. I know it sounds so awful, doesn't it? And their pride was obviously really hurt, but for me, it's more about legacy.
Ellis, good afternoon. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for making it in today, even with the tube strikes and everything that's going on.
Yeah, well, it took long enough, but we're here now, aren't we? So it's all good. It's all
Carnage.
good.
Where have you travelled in from today?
I live just on the Kent coast, a little town called Broadstairs. So just living literally overlooking the seaside at the moment. I was in Holborn for a while, but when I started the business, and my brother got out of the city, and now we run our little fintech from a seaside town. I think it's got quite a nice angle to it, to be honest.
Yeah, weather's actually been pretty good today as well in London, so I can't complain.
It was. I mean, I wore this and a gilet, believe it or not, from my house because I'm a big fan of the merch at the moment. And I had to take off my clothes.
Looks good. I like it. I'm envious. I need to get some.
Yeah, we're treated to it by a client, so it's happy days. We've got a full box of it at home, so if this goes well, maybe I'll send you a jumper or something.
Yeah, count me in. But look, thank you so much for coming on to the pod. I know it'd be good to introduce yourself properly, right? Figure out what exactly you're working on and what the business is that you obviously Glide, and what pain point you are solving in the world at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I founded Glide with my brother. So I am a disgruntled FX broker, some might say. And my brother Nathan's a very successful quant developer. And yeah, we co-founded Glide a couple of years back, well, probably about 4 years ago now, actually, in the back end of 2021.
Yeah.
I started off actually as an FX broker myself. So I left law school, came to London, and like every young salesman, go find that job in sales in the city and stamp over everyone, do whatever you got to do to make your money, very cliche.
Yeah.
And then I found myself working at a legacy currency brokerage, and it was just brokering currency deals for small and medium enterprises, people, buying property overseas, anyone really. I mean, FX is ultimately everywhere.
Yeah.
And I realized that I didn't have the stomach to basically win when someone else had to lose, especially if it was a customer. And I also discovered that it was super archaic, right? Like super legacy currency brokerage style. Like when I say Wolf of Wall Street,
yeah,
it's almost the epitome, right?
No way, really?
Honest to God, I was baffled by it because you had Wise dominating retail FX, Revolut, who are growing and quite frankly still are a conglomerate now, and legacy brokers were still trying to have full autonomy over the currency process for these individuals and businesses.
Yeah,
and the reason being is because currency is very simple at the bottom line. People want the best exchange rate at the best time in the easiest possible way. And automation can solve a lot of those pain points nowadays really effectively and really easily for people trading currency. But if the broker then allows you, the end customer, to have control over that, you kind of almost say, well, there's no real need for that legacy currency broker anymore. If I can self-serve, I can do it transparently, cost effectively, and I can pay, let's say a supplier on the same day, as an example. What do I really need a currency specialist for outside of hedging strategies and so forth, which is all jargon. Like, to be quite honest with you, I know a few brokers probably won't like me saying that, but The strategies are very similar across the board. They have no idea if the market's going up, down, left or sideways.
Yeah.
And so the value in it's really weak. And so I left the industry. And the reason I left the industry actually was because...
How long was you actually in the industry for then? Before you...
Honestly, not long. Like I spent a year at a firm that... They're a good firm.
Yeah.
Like I can't discredit them. They're a good firm. They've got good products, great tech. And they do actually offer a lot of self-service kind of solutions nowadays.
Yeah.
I then went to work at another firm and it was called Manufacturing Spread, okay? I don't know if it's an industry secret. God knows, to be honest. I don't care, quite frankly, because it's backwards to me. But all it basically means is I show the customer that I can get them the best exchange rate, okay? And exchange rates are really simple to understand. There's a real exchange rate, the rate that the banks exchange currency at.
Yeah.
And there's the wholesale rate, which we get as intermediaries. And then there's the retail rate, which you get as a recruitment company operating out of Dubai and sending sterling to AED.
Yeah.
So really simple, 3 currencies, bank, broker, person. A manufactured spread is where you make it out like you're able to give the customer the interbank rate, the real exchange rate, and therefore get the most, in your example, AED for pounds.
Yeah.
And so you quote this exchange rate and you don't make any money because your money comes in the form of the markup that's taken from the interbank or wholesale rate. And the customer thinks, wow, that's amazing. You know, like I've got the best currency deal in the market. I don't really understand the ins and outs of it. I shouldn't have to. I'll take this person's word for it that this is the exchange rate they're able to give me. You then wait 3-4 currency transactions. So this person trusts you. And then manufactured spread comes into play. And all it basically means is I take a 0% markup for 3 transactions to show you that I do offer the best rates and to gain your trust. Then what happens is I charge 3% when you're not looking because you're busy on a meeting. Here's an example. You're busy in a meeting, you ask your broker, can you pay supplier A for me?
Yeah. Just
tell me the rate and I'll pay the GBP amount. Now, not every broker does this, but most of them I can imagine, or at least some of them. And the reason we started Glide is for this very reason. We'll take that opportunity to take the 3% markup.
Well, you're right? I guess like if you're working with someone who's a broker and they've got you good rates for the first 3 times, your trust is there.
Trust is there. And no one does anything in this world for free.
Yeah.
Bottom line, okay, this is a business and people do not do anything for free. And so this is why it just drove me crazy because I was like, so, okay, cool. So we've got to gain this person's trust by giving a free service, but we're not allowed to disclose that to the customer. They're just to be aware that we get them the best currency deal.
Yeah.
And then we're going to charge them in the form of a hidden currency markup, £3,000 for every £100,000 they exchange. Do $1 million, which is very, very typical for a small and medium enterprise.
I was going to ask you, as a typical, I appreciate it really depends on each type of business and how often they need it, but what would be a typical transaction amount?
Really difficult to say, okay, because the HSBC report that we last looked at said there's around 260,000 SMEs in the UK trading internationally. It's probably a lot more than that when you factor in import, export and professional services, recruiters, for example.
Yeah.
But what do we see? We see anything from 50,000 in a single transaction all the way up to 250, 300, 400,000. In terms of aggregate volume, I mean, if you're looking at your very bread and butter kind of SME, you know, your family business, ironically, the ones that are most prone to these practices, you're looking at around 1 to 2 mil. Now, if we go back to that last example and Jenny in accounts has trusted us and Jenny doesn't feel the need to check the interbank rate.
Yeah.
Jenny doesn't even know what the interbank rate is.
Especially if it's not their business, they might not be too dialed in on it, right? It's
part of their business, but people shouldn't be capitalizing on that trust. That makes no sense to me. And so Jenny is now paying, let's say she does 2 million in FX a year. Jenny is now paying that broker 60,000 and she doesn't even know it.
Wow. That's a big amount of money.
It's insane.
Especially for smaller businesses, SMEs, right? It's a big pain point for them. Every
time I pitched Glide at the beginning, I always draw inference from a story because it's a true story. And it was in the firm that I worked for. And I'm not afraid to speak against these brokers and these practices. And more the market aren't nowadays. Funny enough, transparency is now seen as intuitive. Blows my mind because why is it not a prerequisite?
Yeah.
Like why are you as a customer not entitled to know what it costs you to transfer your own money overseas.
Seems straightforward. You think it has to be done like that?
Yeah, I think it's heading that way. Consumer duties really starting to target retail. Retail's obviously the first starting point, and I think SMEs will naturally follow. Because imagine a world where every FX broker discloses their commissions. What happens? We get forced to build better products.
Yeah.
And then a glide comes along, and all of a sudden we can offer something a bit different. And obviously to kind of bring it back to the introduction, probably the first question. And yeah, and so like I draw inference from a true story that happened to me when I worked at a legacy currency brokerage. Very long-winded word, I know, actually. I can't think about it. I don't know how many times I've said it now. But we had to give this individual, this salesperson, a round of applause because essentially what happened is an elderly lady had called in and she'd said, can I purchase currency through you to buy my property overseas and my pension money? Very straightforward.
Yeah.
And this lady has no idea how FX margin works, and she shouldn't have to,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And so what happens is they quote the interbank exchange rate because they know that anyone else that quotes that day, if they're ethically minded people, are not going to quote the interbank rate. They'll quote their fair price. And so those people get taken out of the market straight away. And that's why you see it happen so much now. And then so she goes with this provider, us. And then the money comes in. And then what happens is instead of booking the conversion there and then when that rate was offered to that individual, that lady, they told her that markets tanked overnight. Okay. Now, maybe they did dip a little bit. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they actually moved in favor. I know for a fact they didn't move out of favor this much in terms of what I'm about to tell you. But that lady for that property purchase was then charged £50,000.
50K.
50 grand in a hidden currency margin because an individual was able to say, the market's tanked.
And she was none the wiser.
But we're still getting you the best price on the day. So don't worry, don't worry about it. We've done the best we can by you.
Wow.
Now, if you're an individual who's not been exposed to currency exchange before, you're going to take a professional service provider's word for it.
Of course you are, yeah.
Of course you are. And so she was obviously very happy. And there we are clapping this individual.
No way.
For going, well done. You've taken 50 grand off someone without them knowing it. You're the most talented salesperson in the room. And that's that. I think it was like, it must have been like 2 or 3 days after that I decided that I was going to leave and start my own business, which originally was actually Integritas, integrity in Latin. I was like very angry, basically having a glass of wine one evening after work because I was just hating it there so much. and I came up with an Integritas, and I look back on it now and it's funny because no one could say it. Like it's like we're with Integritas, and I was just like, what have I done? But that's what happened basically. That's how the business started. So that was kind of back end of COVID. I've seen this kind of activity, this whatever you want to call it.
What sort of margins are these guys making then? If it is done in this situation, they've said the market's tanked, like what sort of percentages will people actually put on top of it?
Like one, and as high as 5. Like, and I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to amplify what I'm trying to say. I found a customer the other week, not a customer of ours, independent. She's doing some work with us on our PR agency. I can't go into the details of it entirely. But again, it was another double-digit hidden currency fee after quoting an exchange rate that was very close to the interbank rate at the time. Now, why is someone, when you're paying hundreds of thousands of pounds, why is someone charging you 5% to do that? To press a button?
Yeah.
It's not justified. There's maybe a service element where you can justify a higher price. I will time the market for you. I will take time out of my day to watch the markets and execute at what is most likely a very good time in comparison to where the market is now. Or here's what we can do to protect you if you want to see if it goes a bit higher.
Yeah.
All great value adds that justify a slightly higher markup, hidden currency markup. But 5%.
It's wild, isn't it? Big sums of money.
5% based on, this is the stuff that really annoys me, misinformation. It's like, we give the customer, or they give the customer misinformation. Not always, again, I'm not going to say all brokers, okay, because I know this might rustle some feathers, but like, they'll give the customer misinformation because that's information they have, in the very likely cases the customer doesn't have access to that information. They then use that information to maximize what they make on individual customers. And I'm just fed up. Like, I know it sounds like I just get very passionate about it because I'm fed up of it, because it's always the same argument with colleagues and peers who don't necessarily agree with me. It's like, well, you're forced to race to the bottom. Listen, the race to the bottom has already happened. If not, it's already happening. People are scrapping for margins when the value proposition is so weak, so generalist across the board. And so the only way to really stand out in this market, in a very crowded market, is tech.
Yeah.
Build solutions that these people want. And that leads me nicely into to kind of how I started the business. So I left this firm. It's in the middle of COVID. I get an angry legal letter basically because I decided to go out alone. It's just a threat. I could see straight through it. Like, fortunately, my law degree helped me.
A loan from who? To set up the business?
Sorry?
You got a loan? Who?
No, I got an angry legal letter. Yeah, saying there was something along the lines of you're to sign this document saying that you'll never work in the FX industry again. And I was like, yeah, fat chance. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that drove me. Like, I still have that letter.
Are people like that? Is it in the industry? Are they trying to?
It is.
Is it like that in the industry a lot? I promise
you now, like I can't do it independently right now. Like, as in, I can't go against the status quo, against the brokers aggressively, because I don't want to. One, I want Glide to be about positive messaging, which is why I'll lead into what we actually do at Glide soon. But I also want it to be about lifting this lid, you know, like exposing these hidden truths. Because eventually the FCA will catch up to it on the corporate side. And if it's not Glide speaking out, it's someone else. The issue is, I know that it's happened to a lot of people, but the platform is not big enough for them to make an impact. And so we are working with people, independent customers who are not even customers of ours right now, who are sharing information with us. So brokers, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Who are sharing like email chains with us that like clearly threatening when they've been caught.
Yeah.
And I just think like, I probably shouldn't get as caught up in it as I am or as I do, because I'm also a big believer in karma. Karma will probably eventually catch up, and a lot of these businesses do end up failing. Some make it through, but a lot of them do. But like, I don't know, it's just really part of our mission here at Glide is to like make transparency the new status quo.
It's also clearly a big pain point, right, for people, especially if they don't even know about it.
Yeah.
You can solve that for somebody else as well.
Well, there's the 3 killer pain points for SMEs that we discovered. So leading back into the story, I run home at this point. I'll be honest, I was a little bit scared. Like, I'm getting screamed at by people in suits. I remember the elevator just closing, 2 people screaming at me, and like I put on a brave face, but as soon as the escalator closed, I went, oh my God, and I just got out of there. And then I basically well, listen, I'm in it now. Like, and it's very simple at the start. This thing that happened to me, this experience just drove me. And I was like, okay, you know what? It's COVID. It's coming out the back end of COVID. I mean, what have you got to lose? Like, just go back home, like move out of London. So I moved out of Holborn, went straight back home to the Kent seaside.
Why was they doing that though? Because they didn't want the secrets exposed of the industry, or?
Yeah. There's a lot of scaremongering going on in the industry, a lot, because it's effective. If someone knocks at your door and says, "Hey, like, it sounds very dramatic, but you've been served," and I get a phone call from my flatmate at the time because I'm with a friend, and she says, sorry, there's a massive letter here from you that's just been hand delivered by someone. I made a sign and it doesn't look very good. Of course it's going to. Of course it is. But I like, the problem is when you do that to someone with nothing to lose, they have nothing to lose. Yeah. So like, what do I have? Again, I'll say it again, to lose. I don't. So like, I wrote back to that solicitor's firm. I was like, not happening. I know this is a threat. Like, you've given me a couple of days to respond. I will be pursuing this business. I didn't hear from them again after that.
So sorry, this is when they found out you were setting up Glide, that they then enforced.
Sorry, yeah. So basically, the story goes like this. I incorporate Integritas. I've been working there for a few months, basically, because it wasn't long tenure here at this company at all. I witnessed this. I start my own company. They catch wind that I'm starting my own company.
Wow.
They then try and get me on the non-compete. And so I come into work like 2 days, I think, after I've incorporated. And I'm doing nothing wrong. I've got no new customers at that business. They give me no exposure to customers, clients, or anything like that. And also, as unethical as I might perceive them to be, I'm a pretty ethically driven person. Like, I had every intention of telling them and then leaving. Yeah. But anyways, the receptionist comes up to me, "Oh, Ellis, you never signed your employment contract."
No way.
And I start sweating, because I know that.
God, they knew that. Yeah,
they knew. And I was like, whatever decisions I make leading up to me leaving this building are basically going to define the rest of the business's life cycle.
The potential of it actually happening, right?
Yeah. So then I get called into the room, the CFO there, the CEO, and some finance assistant anyways. And they go, "You never signed this employment contract. and I look at it and it feels like I've been looking at that thing for about an hour.
Just swallowing you in.
And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I was like, I can't sign it. And they was like, why? And I was like, because I never read it. And because I didn't want them to think I'd read it and then maybe try and make some argument. Because I knew what was coming on here. I knew what was going on here. It's going to be about the non-compete, the restrictive covenant. But the difficult thing is that like I'd been there 2 months and you can't compel someone really to a restrictive covenant if they have no idea what that restrictive covenant is.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do that. Anyway, I said, I can't sign it. They say, why not? I say, can we have this conversation in the boardroom with obviously just the 2 CEOs? And they say, yes. At this point, I run back to the trading floor. They call it a trading floor and dealers and trade. I run back to a floor, everyone's selling FX and then pressing a button and choosing the price.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really derogatory, so I'm sorry for the like high level traders. Like, they are like, I must be very clear. There's that end of the market, and then there's a more sophisticated end of the market that caters to clients in a very specific way.
Yeah.
They are completely isolated from my experience. I'm talking about a very different side of the industry. I grab my bags, I run outside to the main reception because it's a shared office building.
But you've literally trying to escape the office then here.
I didn't know, I didn't try and escape. I was worried they was going to call me in, but I knew that if I left my bags in there, they were going to come in and make a fool of me. And I'll probably have gone bright red because I do tend to bluff quite easily. So I ran onto this reception desk and I said, listen, I think I'm about to get sacked. Can you hold my stuff for me? They look like baffled. They're like, yeah, what? So I put it behind the shared reception desk and then I get called in. They ready for you now? And just pure rage, like I genuinely, I've got the letter somewhere and I'm happy to, not the letter, but the email I sent back. And it was like, I want to pump thousands of pounds into ruining your life. I know it sounds so awful, doesn't it? And like their pride was obviously really hurt. And I understand it, right? But ultimately I said, look, what I think you're doing here is wrong. I'm going to start my own business. Words get exchanged. I say, going to leave now before any of us say something. I don't want to say anything stupid. The argument was around the restrictive covenant. I won't go into detail about that. And I left. And then that kind of brings you back into what I just said to you about the door closing. And they go in there and get your stuff. And I was like, by moment, I was like, don't have to. It's blind reception by the door. So then I managed to escape.
That's such a good story though. What a good way to start a business.
I know. I love it. I love it. And then so I run home at this point. Honestly, I can sit here and pretend I was brave, but I wasn't. I was on the phone to my parents. I was really scared.
Yeah.
Like, of course I was scared. But I was just kind of excited because I was like, okay, maybe there's going to be some backlash off this, which there was a legal threat. It was so aggressive.
It's part of the journey though. It's such a good way to start
exactly. So then I came home, honestly, got into my parents' spare room in Broadstairs. I like blue tacked some just like awful designs for like PDFs and websites. And then I just got cracking. And from then on out, if I link it back to the story I've told you, it was about, I know that SMEs in particular, which are definitely the most underserved area of subset of in the market, have a real appetite for simple self-service currency solutions. This is a really nice way to put it, I think. And I said, but I have no idea what that product looks like. And all I've got now is this, fortunately, I was able to white label some technology from a partner. All I've got is this white label platform, a company called Integritas that no one can say, a very like bog standard looking logo. And probably, like, if I'm being honest, a hell of a lot of drive. And so that was the grimace year. Because then it was like, okay, right, now we figure out how to sell. We don't want to be like the others, so we can't cold call. So how do we scale digital outreach? How do we add real value? And as time goes by, we grow our revenues and it becomes quite a nice lifestyle business.
Well, just a quick question on that. So how come your mind went straight to tech? It didn't go straight to, okay, let me start off my own FX brokerage, but we'll just not charge as much as the other people.
Because
what made you think of tech?
Because I knew from speaking to these customers that they do want autonomy.
Yeah.
Everyone wants autonomy, so long as it is simple for them enough to understand. Yes, everyone wants a human touch, but it's when they want the human touch.
Yeah.
Not when the broker sees the markets going up and goes, cool, sell. Let's get some deals in trade, like trades or whatever they want to call them. That is not good user experience. Even if they don't see it,
it's very true.
The outcomes are still not good. It's fractured. It's clunky. You're exchanging emails and phone calls to pay a supplier. They're saying you want an extra 2 pair of eyes on it. And then an FX broker in the mid-20s is reviewing not to be like, maybe take that one out, but like an FX broker then with no like seriously qualified finance experience is reviewing a large transaction to be that extra pair of hands. I just didn't fall for it because that to me screams, so you're doubling the chances for human error. That's an inefficiency. Anyway, so that I knew that they wanted it, but I didn't know what the product looked like. And so that's when I kind of just did this thing where I just offered the cheapest rate, the cheapest margin. I showed the real FX rate, the interbank rate, so no one could ever get ripped off. I made pennies. Like, I was basically getting pocket money again at 26. It was painful. And then something interesting happened. And then we start talking to our customers and start understanding what this product might look like.
How did you build the first bit then? So you obviously had some sort of platform that you was using to do that, even though he was making pennies. How did you do that?
So I had a chat with my brother, Nathan. He's obviously doing really well in his software engineering degree. And we kind of configure it down to three main pain points: unfair pricing, payment delays, like just pay my supplier on the day if you can, and reconciling, like accounting can be a bit of a headache. So we knew kind of what the main headaches were. But honestly, it was still very basic at that point. In fact, it was so basic that I kind of said to myself, why don't we make it like an IG or an eToro, but strictly for corporate FX? So like an all-in-one trading platform. That would be our foundation. And then kind of asked about product features. So like we had a translating company and I knew how annoying it was for them to pay 5, 6, 7, 8 translators at once by going conversion, payment, send, conversion, payment. How annoying is that? Like that's 10, 20 minutes gone. So I was like, batch payments would be a great one. Not CSV uploads that everyone has, but the ability just to add multiple payments and attach them to a single conversion in a single workflow, like 3 clicks.
Yeah.
And so all this feedback starts coming in and then it starts shaping the product. And then me and Nathan are having a chat one day and I say, you've got the talent, man. Like you are very skilled at your job. And I genuinely believe I have an idea in my mind of a product that could really serve SMEs.
Yeah.
And not only will it serve them, it'll make them defensible against the dark arts of FX.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win. We stop people getting ripped off and then we give them a better solution than the ones they could ever get from the people or potential people ripping them off. And so the build starts and that's another, 2021. Yeah, that's another 3 years, 2.5 years of that. I'm completely bootstrapped. I'm still living at home. Eventually get enough money to move out and get my own apartment and get a bit of independence. I mean, I was really introvert, quite overweight at the time. I'm like getting there, but I was still feeling a bit overweight. But like got my independence back, saw my friends again. And then there was this brief period where it's like, oh my God, I can have a lovely lifestyle business here. Like, is this a vendetta? Is this a passion? Like, what is it? Turns out it's a bit of everything rolled into one. And eventually, whilst we're building this product, it got to the end of 2024, 2025. And like I was happy with the revenues coming in and I was happy with how lean the business was. And I was happy.
How many transactions at this point do you think you was doing on a monthly basis?
North of 100, like individual conversions for sure. Definitely north of 100 conversions. And this is all like, and even at its most basic level, I'm managing, I won't tell you exactly how many customers, but a high double-digit customers independently. Because everything was automated. It was so basic. You can do everything online. There's a little alert system that notifies you, like very basically like a pre-MVP of Glide. And it was so self-sustainable, you wouldn't believe it. And obviously the customers never left. The first customer we had up until recently, he was with us for 2.5 years. I hadn't spoken to him on the phone once. If I wouldn't recognize him if I saw him on the street. Wow. But and maybe once or twice someone came in and tried to undercut us on rates, and then eventually they start creeping them up. So what do? You come back to Integritas because you know it's never going to happen. But it wasn't enough for a scalable business. And so gets to the end of 2025, and I don't know, as the time went by and I saw Glide develop, and we actually partnered with some Ukrainian developers, a company called Ellis. That partnership has just come into fruition over the last couple of years, and we have an excellent relationship now. And a team of full stack front end engineers that pouring their heart and soul into this project because they see it too.
They believe in it.
They've heard me go on about it enough. But yeah, so like we have a team, and they got us in 2024, and I was like, gonna have to fundraise, because I tried to take on some non-exec directors to help me fundraise, but nothing ever really came of it. And I was like,
did you have anyone that could help you? Like, was there a mentor or anyone like
nothing?
Because you've obviously not built a tech product before, right? You've gone from essentially being a salesperson to a tech entrepreneur, right?
The MVP was only just ready. Like this moves so quick, like so quick. And so it gets the end of 2024, and I'm like, if no one's gonna raise for me, I've got to go raise myself.
Yeah.
Like, because no one's coming to help me. It sounds really cliche, but it's just the truth, right?
I'm assuming you had no experience in knowing how to raise funds or what to do.
I couldn't even spell VC. But that's a good one, actually. Keep that in. I couldn't even spell VC, honestly. But no, I didn't. I had no idea where to start. I don't even know how I ended. Come to think about it, I can't even remember. I think what I did is I just took the same sales approach that I took with Integritas, now Glide. I just literally went, let's map the market out and let's start sending emails.
Yeah, nice.
And I did, and started applying to all the VCs, the angel syndicates. I mean, honestly, that information is so accessible out there. And I know people obviously ask all the time, how should you go about it? Anyone listening, if you are looking to start and raise money, do it. Map your market. Use like some SaaS tools to identify their email address. Pitch them directly if you can. Don't always go through the website if you can. Like, if you can find the person who you think is going to like your product most,
go straight to the source.
Go. I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't work much at all at the start. I had so many lists of VCs and I got so many rejections, and that's basically how
that's part of it as well, though, right? It's part of the journey.
And then there came this point where, like, I was going through the pitch deck on a video call with an associate at VC, and I knew they had an appetite for like younger businesses, pre-seed businesses. And I looked into his eyes as I was talking, and I was like, he's bored and I'm bored. He's seen this deck 100 times, or not, sorry, reverse that. He's bored and I'm bored. That's really not a good sign.
Yeah.
Because I'm so excited and passionate about the product, so why am I bored? And then I'm like, it's because of this pitch deck. Like, how many times has this guy gone through a pitch deck and been promised that, you know, the MRRs are going to jump tenfold in 4 years? And you look at the success rates of you know, venture capital backed companies, the odds aren't in your favor.
Yeah,
you know?
Very low, isn't it?
Yeah, and so I kind of switched it up with who actually eventually became our lead investor, which is Fuel Ventures. And I have a really good relationship with this guy now, but started off with like an initial call, and then I had a call with Piers, lovely guy, lovely associate. Please don't bombard him with emails. Amazing. But I really like him. He's really nice. And that was the first time I switched it up, and I'm like, what? One, again, don't have anything to lose, but like, I'm not boring someone because they already know what's in that pitch deck because you've already sent it to them and they've read it, skimmed it. If it's short enough, they've skimmed it, and they've got an idea of the questions they're going to ask you. And we've got an MVP. So let's maybe start using that to our advantage a bit. So then I said, hey, you obviously see the deck. You obviously got questions. Let's like have some fun. By this point, I was kind of like coming to the expectation that I wasn't necessarily going to raise the money this time around anyway. And so I was just so like, not blasé, but I was far more relaxed, I'd say. And I was like, let's just pretend you're a finance professional. Let's just like maybe put you in a scenario where you're an importer or an exporter, and let's put you in front of Glide. And we did it. And thankfully, the demo environment didn't break on us during that. Yeah, it worked. And then obviously, about 1 or 2 more calls after that, we got to negotiate a term sheet. And like, I mean, I can't believe it to this day, if I'm being honest.
Well, people buy into people, right? So we obviously saw you as super passionate about it. It's a pain point that you've already gone through yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and also when you look at top line metrics in terms of like the market size, don't get me wrong, a lot of competition, very heavily saturated.
Is that just in FX brokers or the tech alongside that as well?
I would say FX payments as an industry in its entirety, the amount of payments businesses out there is insane, and we're all competing for the same thing, for the customer to trust us to use our tech or our products. Obviously, there's different subsets, you know, like accounts payable automation, payment links, fiat. Sorry, hang on, let me go back like that. Obviously, there's different like companies out there, like really good companies too, that are doing like automated billing. We obviously focus on the currency risk management piece. So there's so many companies. Stablecoins becoming really popular, especially in emerging economies.
Yeah,
I think that'll be the next big thing in emerging economies. But our bet is to stay on the Western Hemisphere with fiat currency and try and build products that just serve the SME basically.
Nice.
But yeah, man, it's a massive market. And so that was obviously appealing to the investor. And then I think you're right, actually. I think it did come a lot down to heart and to passion, because honestly, like, I don't know, I don't really care too much about like I don't even think about an exit. Like, if I'm being totally honest, like, and if I think about it, yeah, okay, obviously I'd love to be very, very wealthy at the end of this and maybe go and explore other business opportunities like most exited successful entrepreneurs do. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
But for me, it's more about legacy, and that sounds a bit cheesy, but if I want a product where an FX broker looks at an SME and goes, right, we can probably get some money out of them, and then they call them up, and then the sales manager goes, right, who's that prospect or lead using, sorry, and they go, oh, some company called Glide, and then he goes, put the phone down, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Because there's products that like exist like that for institutional level customers. 360T is one of them that we always used to come across at my very first firm. Who they're using, 360T. Put the phone down. But if you can get a product where it's a waste of time for salespeople to compete, like, surely that's the gold mine. And so I would like to believe that eventually that is what Glide can be, for sure, is like the 360T for SMEs, but in a super simple way for them to kind of interact with, essentially. So that's obviously the end goal is like legacy. Again, I know it sounds super cheesy, but I'm really passionate about it because I don't want, like, I only saw one lady get ripped off. How many times do you reckon that's happened since I've left or before I joined?
Across the whole industry, right? Not just one firm either.
I'm not thinking about a single firm here. I'm talking about across the industry. Like, it like, honestly, the woman the lovely lady, I should say, that we're doing some work with at the moment, on the PR side of things, never been a customer to us. And I come across her review the other day, and I'm like, I know exactly what's happened to this woman. And she's clocked. And not a lot of people clock because they just take the word for it.
They wouldn't know the wiser, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I need to find this woman.
Yeah.
I need to find this woman. I won't say her name, but there's 3 of the same name that come up on LinkedIn because she was on the reviews, and you can kind of maybe work out like the city at least they live in. And so I messaged a couple of, like, basically more than one of the same person with a name. The first person probably thought I was a complete weirdo. But the second one comes back and she says, yeah, that is me. Yeah, that did happen to me. And yeah, I do want to talk about it. And I never met someone as passionate as I was about protecting SMEs from...
Well, of course, if she's actually been the receiving side of it, right?
And I had an independent voice then because she has no loyalty towards Glide, at least not now, maybe in the future, but she doesn't right now. She's an independent voice that effectively has been silenced by this firm. I've seen some questionable emails, and it's very clear scaremongering tactics again. Take your review down, right? We'll give you some money back.
Really?
Yeah. And then the more you went into this conversation, the more I realized how backwards it was. So basically, like, from my understanding, this whole play of like markets tanking, we offer you the best rate, and then all of a sudden the margin's 5% and not maybe 0.2, 0.3%, whatever it might be.
God, I'm just thinking of all the market's been relatively turbulent, right, over the past few months with the elections, with Trump in. So I bet there's been so many cases where they've been blowing it up so much further than it is.
I promise you there has. I promise you. We've got well, I'll finish the story first, actually. But yeah, and so this what happened was that they quoted this really amazing exchange rate. She sent the money. Markets will tank 5%, right? Now, this lady's very clever. I'll tell you why she's clever. Because she checks the XE, the Google rate, whatever she checks the interbank rate very shortly after her transfer.
Mm-hmm.
She's been charged 5% hidden currency fee. Markets, if they have tanked at all, max would have tanked 0.5, which I know they didn't, but I'm just kind of keep it realistic for the benefit of the sake of the argument. And she clocked. And not only does she clock, she walks down to the local currency exchange bureau, where like the post office.
Yeah.
And just says, like, what has been taken, lo and behold, is 5%. Now, there is no way on this earth, I'm telling you now, that when she asked them for a live quoted exchange rate, they quoted exchange rate 5%, where they would never have won the business, ever. And then what happens is obviously the customer's very unhappy and wants some money back or wants the deal cancelled, and the currency broker goes, can't do that, sorry, it's too late. And in fairness to the broker, if they put the deal, and then yeah, it is too late. And then they offer her $2,000 in compensation.
Wow.
Well, they've made 50. Sorry, no, my mistake. Sorry, let me try that again. And then they offer her $2,000 in compensation to take her bad reviews off, to keep quiet, to just disappear into the night, right? But they don't know that she knows that they've charged her 21 grand. So that compensation isn't compensation. They're bribing her with her own money and still pocketing 19 grand.
Crazy.
Like, what? Like, and if everyone was forced to show the exchange for the real, just show the mid-market rate and show the rate you're willing to give. And if your value is strong enough, they'll take your price. But if you're not willing to show your price, then you'll question your own value as a service provider. So something's not adding up here, because that's the argument I always get. It's not about price, it's about service. Show your price.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Show it.
I think like why I guess it's so rife in the SME space as well. I'm thinking of myself that owns a small business, or people that are kind of running around managing a lot of things and wearing a lot of different hats. You've not got time to check all these different.
You shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
You literally shouldn't have to. I don't get it personally. Like, I really don't get it. And like, the thing with FX is, like, again, I come back to the start of the podcast, best exchange rate in the easiest possible, best possible time in the easiest possible way. Like, that's really ultimately what people want.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to, you shouldn't have to think about it. You're out there sourcing the best candidates for your clients, and your clients are paying, I'm guessing, a fixed percentage per placement that both you and they know going into contract. Why doesn't FX get that luxury?
Yeah.
Why doesn't Sue, the lady?
Same with real estate, whatever. You know what that percentage is, right? It should never fluctuate.
No, it shouldn't fluctuate. It shouldn't. If you look to your bank statement and your phone bill goes up a 5 or a 10, you're like, oh, too, what are you playing at?
Yeah,
then they tell you call someone, abroad or whatever it is. Okay, fair enough. But in FX, where the markets are constantly changing and transparency is very difficult to get hold of, because because again, the market's always a very dynamic market price wise, right?
Yeah.
So it's impossible to track. I just think it's nuts, and kind of coming back to Glide, we have a separate product. It's not so much as a product, but more as a lead magnet, really. But we built this calculator about, I think it was about 3 years ago, and you plug in what you bought, what you sold. I bought $100,000. I paid £90,000 in a time and date, and it will show you the real exchange rate. Okay, the exchange rate your broker gave you, or provider, or bank, whoever it might be, the percentage margin that was taken, and the hidden currency fee that's attached to that percentage margin.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe some of the results we got from it. We got 3,500 bits of data. Our PR agency obviously doing some interesting articles around football transfer windows and skim maps for SMEs. Loads of really interesting stuff. And I think across like 27 currency pairs, on average, the margin came in at 1.3%. I'll put my hands up. Most of the people using that calculator are probably the ones that are a little bit suspicious of their broker, and therefore most likely the ones getting ripped off. So that's fair enough. I'm sure lots of people are on nice, healthy type margins. But yeah, it was crazy to see, And the one thing I loved about those results so much is that people got curious.
Yeah,
they
of course.
had access, and there's loads of calculators like that out there. There's some really good, cool, sophisticated ones out there. Brackets and Aura, kind of a different area of the market that we're going after, but very, very cool tools when it comes to giving level of transparency to the end client. And then obviously we've got ours as well. And Wise have theirs, they've all got transparent calculators. And the one thing that I loved about the results is that if you was able to kind of figure out, or if you were tracking via some sort of campaign, who was using the calculator, or someone put their name in the optional email thing, you would see him put one invoice in, right, for like maybe, let's assume it's March, of like 70,000 euros. So obviously they're probably doing around 70,000 euros a month, maybe paying overseas suppliers.
Yeah.
They then go back a month, and then they're doing the third one back a month, and the same sort of size and transaction. You would assume the same sort of value from the FX provider.
Yeah.
And different margins every single time.
No way.
Margin creeping.
Creeping every time because the trust is there,
Yeah, the generally, like the general standard term is called margin creeping. You can ask anyone broker what margin creeping is, I'll tell you. Or manufactured spread.
Manufactured spread.
What is that? Like what? Like manufactured spread makes you a good FX broker. And therefore being a good FX broker You are judged on your ability to take a price from a customer that they think is good and that is profitable for you when it might not necessarily be so. Can someone explain it to me?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It makes no sense, man. Like, it just honestly, I could talk about it all day long. I'd probably be happy to talk about it an hour now.
But that's good, right? So, I mean, let's get onto the story, right? So you've got Glide now for how many years? And
yeah, what does Glide do? We should probably get into what Glide does.
The exact platform. Tell me about it.
So Glide, right, so we have those 3 pain points, right? Unfair pricing, payment delays, and reporting headaches. They're the 3 killer headaches. So let's go after the 3 killer headaches first. And what I love about Glide is that we're so close to our customers. They can email in and go, this is great, but I think this is better. We can get a wider picture, a top-down view, go and implement it, and maybe have it in production in a couple of weeks max, right? And I love that. And I always want the company to be like that.
So it's bespoke then to the end user?
It's bespoke to the end users because typically the SME category will have very, very similar pain points. Yeah. So we've got unfair pricing, payment delays, and reporting headaches. And so what Glide does, super, super simple. It comes with all the bells and whistles that your broker has access to, news calendars, rate alerts, everything, but super simplified. And then what you're able to do is set your own rate. So the real difference of Glide outside of giving the end client autonomy is that we allow SME customers in particular to choose the rates at which they pay suppliers in a very efficient way.
Right.
Okay. So let's use an example. Let's use a real example. We've got a client called Mebs, who's got a great company called Swift Analytical, small family business, lovely guy, investor now because of the value that he saw from Glide. I'm Mebs, if you found that. We've got a great relationship. But anyways, he has a big invoice to pay, okay? And as I say, it's a family business, so every penny matters. And these SMEs are the businesses that are keeping the economy running. Yeah. They really are. Like your mum and pop shops, your family businesses, even your manufacturers that are going up to like 30, 40, 50 million FX that are hiring families. Now, the GBP USD interbank rate on a day is 134. £1, $134 for a big invoice, right? And he's buying in dollars. Mebs doesn't want 134. And Mebs wouldn't even get 134 even with us because we'd take our margin off that rate anyway on the day. Same as any FX broker. But Mebs sets his own rate. Mebs goes, I like 136. I say, Mebs, it's punchy, but good luck to you, my friend. And so Mebs, in 3 or 4 clicks, logs into Glide, sees the real FX rate. So the transparency piece is there. He sees live charts. He sees whatever he wants to see, but in a really, 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 really user-friendly way.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, a child could navigate Glide.
And he picks what rate he wants to get sent.
He goes, okay, cool, I'll set my rate. So he sets his rate. I'm not going to say what the invoice size was. That's his business. But he sets his rate. And he sets 136. He tops up his pound amount because he now knows if he's going to get these dollars at 136, what the sterling equivalent would be. And I'll tell you what the difference was at the end. And he tops up and he creates his payment. Because what you do is you basically set your rate and then you attach your payment to that rate, okay, or payments to that rate. And then Glide, whilst constantly monitoring the markets, will send that payment out for you the second the rate's available, okay?
So as soon as it hits that 136, whatever, it's gone.
Not even a fraction of a second. My brother would probably have a go if he's saying a fraction of a second. I don't even know the ins and outs of it. All I know is it's really cool and it works. Still at the moment, anyways. But no. And so I think it was like something ridiculous, like really early in the morning. Everyone's asleep. 136 hits briefly, plus our little margin factored in. And so Mebs' conversion takes place. Mebs exchanges his pounds for US dollars at 136. 2 days after what hits 134, 2 days, right? And he's probably got 30-day payment terms with his supplier. So he's got plenty of time.
Plenty of time for that to happen.
Exactly, plenty of time. And it hits, it goes out. He wakes up in the morning. He walks into his office. His supplier's paid at 136.
Wow.
Okay. That invoice cost him £1,000 less to get the same amount of dollars from a decision he made in a very short amount of time, with no payment delays and no risk of unfair pricing. So you've eradicated 2 of those pain points. We're working on the third one in depth at the moment, but let's just focus on those 2. And so now he's setting his own rates.
That's free money for him, essentially, right?
Well, it is free money. He called me that evening. I hope you don't mind me saying this, obviously, but he called me that evening. He said, wanted to say thanks. That is money me and my wife, my business partner, never had.
Yeah.
and we're going away, and we've just upgraded our stay with the money because
Amazing.
they're a small business.
Yeah.
Like, they can, and it's a lifestyle, not a lifestyle, actually, because they're a small business, right? And so that is money they never had. And do you know what the beautiful thing about it is? Not only is it not money that they never had, but no one, like, in the grand scheme of things, no one had to lose for members to win.
Yeah.
Because FX is 7 trillion a day, the most liquid and heavily traded market in the world, right? No one's going to notice an SME taking $1,000 out of the market.
Yeah.
So no one loses. MEP gains, Glide gains a valuable customer, now investor, and, you know, someone to be a great advocate for what we're trying to do.
His client's getting paid on time at the same rate that
His
they always
client
wanted.
gets paid on time, and people will go, well, what if the rate never hits? What if the rate never hits? And some of my competitors will probably go, you can't say set your own rates because I might want 140. I'm sorry to the impression, but let me try it again. But some of them will go, oh, you can't just say set your own rates though, because I might want 140. It doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I think that's really backwards, right?
Yeah.
Because the worst case scenario for a Glide customer is the day the invoice is due, the order doesn't fill, okay? Which is annoying because I would love you to get your exchange rate. But then we offer the fixed 0.2% spot currency markup on the day.
Yeah.
We won't book it for you because you deserve to have control over when you book on the day. And you're basically back into your default position that you were anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no loss, like there's no risk.
So just to make that clear then, let's say, for example, he was on the platform, but he needed that payment to go out today regardless. You basically can still send it
Just
through
cancel
anytime.
the order. Just cancel it. If you want, if you don't want the order, don't want to wait around for your order, because no one can control the markets. We're not pretending to. No one can. Like, we just want people to set their own. We want people to be able to target their own rates without obviously the risks of using legacy service providers.
Yeah.
And while solving those massive pain points that are very, very critical to SMEs, and that is what Glide allows you to do. So yeah, to answer your question, the best case scenario is you choose the rate, it hits, your payment automatically goes out.
Yeah.
Okay? Your supply is paid same day, usually within a couple of hours at the rate you've chosen.
And you can have a play with it then. You can have a play with it. Just chance your arm and see if you can, right?
We obviously, our suppliers are in Ukraine. We pay them in USD.
Yeah.
I love it. I know it sounds so stupid, but it's like quite addictive.
Of course it is.
Because the customer feels like they're saving themselves the money. Like,
you can only really win, right? There's no losing here. It's only winning or getting the money back.
The only way you could win is if someone was basically going to go, well, I'll offer you 0.1% on a day, and you save like, I don't know, 10 to 50 quid difference.
Yeah.
So what is the point? The very worst case is that your supplier gets paid with a 0.2% currency margin at a time that you dictate on the day your supplier is due. By the way, there's a news calendar on there that will tell you if any news is going to come out that will affect your currency pairs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's a chart so you can see the direction it's trading. It's not speculative, it's purely informative, right? And so you kind of have all the information that basically a broker uses to sell you into buying through them, but in front of you so that you can make an informed decision without the noise, right? And so you might go, yeah, do you know what? I'll take the 0.2%. It's a great rate. Like, it's a great margin. Great margin on spot transactions. So that's our real killer USP. You can obviously hedge, you can fix exchange rates, so you can buy multiple forward contracts, which allows you to fix an exchange rate for up to 12 months in a large amount, usually. And then we've got live chat because we're aware that people still want that human touch, right? We're not,
nice.
We're not, I've seen the pain points from the conglomerates too. This isn't just about going against the status quo of legacy FX providers. I can see where the pain points are. I mean, everyone can kind of see where the pain points are with those conglomerates now. So it's one account manager per customer, per account. It's available on live chat, phone or email. So you're never going to lose that touch.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think with the level of self-service that Glide has and the level of automation attached to it and the level of simplicity that it kind of represents, you ain't really going to need to speak to that customer too much. And when you do, it's by the book, okay, payment issue sorted. Like, it should be a very well-oiled machine.
Nice.
That's the plan anyway. Anything can go wrong. I'll probably get a phone call.
No. Well, look, it sounds like it's going super well, and you're obviously getting a lot of good recognition for it as well, right? So tell me a little bit more about the recent accolades you've had. You've got the Lloyds, you've got, the J P Morgan.
Yeah. So we just been accepted. We're one of 15 fintechs to join the J P Morgan FinTech accelerator program.
That's amazing. Out of how many people?
15 were chosen, and my like obviously it starts tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. But my understanding of it is that they are looking for the next type of fintechs to redefine the payments landscape for the UK businesses in particular, right? And I think that's really exciting. The cohort is very diverse. You know, like some fiat, some.
Do you know any of them on there until you get there? Do you know what the other people look like?
The day I found out, I was like, time to network. So I literally, I managed to connect with only one of them, but he was doing some stuff in the stablecoin space. And I have a really good friend called Calvin, who is now head of treasury at eBanks. They are exploring or actively pursuing or maybe even doing stablecoin. And I said, hey, I know this guy, he might be of interest in a service provider. He was like, I'd love to speak to him. Can you put me in touch? And then I just hooked him up on WhatsApp.
Nice.
Because because I think that's what these things are all about. It's going to be about networking.
Yeah.
For me, I know the pain points that I need to solve. We've got a massive bottleneck at the moment in terms of development because our team is super lean. And obviously Nathan has priorities outside of the company at the moment, which are his business again, so I won't go into that too much. But it's a bottleneck, and I want that bottleneck solved.
Yeah.
And I want to understand my GTM more. Is my messaging clear enough to our customers? How do we scale acquisition? Because that's the key. We can have a beautiful product all day long, like, and come make relationships all day long and get a customer here and there. But how do you unlock scalability without unlimited resource and without burning through millions and millions before you even get there?
How do you market it right?
And then you dilute it down to nothing anyway, and you don't really have control over your business. And that scares me because what if people we have majority investors in the future that don't share my same vision for protecting SMEs? Like, I don't believe so I will always want control. But yeah, so solve the bottleneck, understand our GTM and scaling acquisition, make some friends, obviously, have some good times, and figure out what it is that I need to do as a founder to take Glide to the next level.
Yeah.
And make as little mistakes as possible, because we obviously raise a great good valuation, a nice amount of money, not huge, but enough to get us going.
Yeah.
And have I made mistakes? Yeah. Like I've rolled the dice on a couple of things. I'm quite conservative, but definitely rolled the dice on a couple of things that I wish would have gone better.
Yeah.
I would love to sit here and say, oh, but they were the best things for me because I've learned from them. But I think I'm still going through that learning process. So I can't really sit there.
That'll be ongoing though, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think this J P Morgan FinTech program will do that. You know, we've already got sessions scheduled around products.
Nice.
Around like everything I think that they know that we need to be well equipped in.
You're in the right circle there to ask these questions, right?
Oh, 100%. I'm there to network, absolutely. But I'm very clear on the pain points that the business has right now. And if I don't figure them out, then the chances of success diminish rapidly. And also, the chances of success with VC-backed companies aren't fantastic, you know?
How have you actually found then? So look, you've gone from a sales background working in FX yourself, but how have you transitioned personally going from that type of role to essentially a CEO of a SaaS
biggest
product?
challenge of my life.
Yeah.
And it will probably be that way for a very long time, because you're all of a sudden the middleman between your CTO brother and your developers.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't speak the developer's language.
Yeah.
So friction straight away, which is getting solved. Don't go, it will be solved. It's getting solved immediately. Then I'm managing ops. Then I'm doing hiring.
Yeah.
Then I'm managing firing, which I never wanted to do in the first place. I really liked the individual we had, really liked him, but unfortunately couldn't justify the burn with the output. Anyway, yeah, it's what it is. It's just one of those things, right?
Yeah, natural. It's going to happen, right?
Yeah, finances. You know, we've got some advisors that are great. Risk. Danny is the ex-head of, I believe, EU FX sales. No, FX sales, corporate FX sales.
Yeah.
Sorry, go back there. Danny is the ex-head of FX corporate sales at Nomura. He has been an absolute star. Like, honestly, he's amazing. Such a nice bloke as well. That's one thing Glide's really good at, is attracting people that share the same kind of moral compass, maybe is the way to put it, or I don't know how to really put it, but they share the same values. And those people happen to be quite fantastic people to work with too. And then obviously you're managing sales.
Marketing as well, everything.
Yeah, and we do it all ourselves, basically. Like we've hired agencies on a few different things. PR, we've had some help with one agency in particular wants some dev stuff. But in terms of like everything else, it is just sweat equity, it's Canva, you know, it's whatever you can do to get your business out there. And I'm really starting to try and block out everything but sales at the moment. Because the one thing I learned is like pre-seed's all about founder-led sales. Like you can't just hire salespeople and go, hey, no, I've got this amazing product, I'm gonna go handle everything else. Crack on. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. I think maybe I thought that for a very brief period at the start.
Yeah.
But quickly got out of that. And now it's all about, right, how do I pass as many leads as possible as I can to my very lean sales team? Like because with Glide, sales in particular, I want to build a business that really fits the lifestyle of our employees as well as the daily lives of our SME customers. Like I want them to work from anywhere in the world. Claudia's a great example. Like she's our sales manager. She is amazing. So good at her job. You wouldn't like just textbook, by the book sales, knows what she's doing, but also a very good relationship builder. She was born in, sorry if I get this wrong, but Sardinia.
Nice.
And she obviously had a vacation out there over the summer, but then she also worked out there for a few days after. I think she came back because the heat was a bit too much for our conversation. But the point is, her and her family, you know, can work from anywhere in the world.
That's good.
And so I really want that. And people will definitely go against what I'm saying here and say definitely hybrid is the right approach. And do you know what? Maybe you're right. Okay, we'll find out. I think if I can get it right with a fully remote, very agile fintech, where the product's so self-service, so you're basically unlimited, like the amount of customers you have is ultimately, I mean, don't get it wrong, it's not going to be unlimited, but it's high enough for you to justify a very nice income.
Yeah.
And add on the luxury of doing it anywhere you want in the world.
That's the beauty of the fintech, right? It's scalable.
Who's going to leave?
Yeah.
Who's going to leave?
But yeah, to wrap this up then, because I know we're short on time, what can we expect to see from Glide in the next 5-10 years?
5-10?
Yeah. Well, we can reverse engineer it. Let's go 1 to 5-10. What's the future look like?
We'll work towards our seed round, but in a way that's centered around sustainable growth, because that's what I believe is the right approach for the company right now.
Yeah.
I think it's down to me, Claudia, Elizabeth, and the rest of the team to figure out how we rapidly onboard customer acquisition. 5 to 10 years, listen, I want to be mass market domination in the hands of every SME across Europe, North America, globally. Why not? Like, I want to be that go-to product for SMEs. Plus, it has a nice ring to it. Like, why is Glide Revolut?
It does.
You know?
I want to see Glide on all the billboards.
I want to get Glide on a plane. Because But yeah, it's been amazing. I'm really glad you had me on. So thank you very much.
Very welcome. My pleasure. Look forward to seeing you in the future.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Thank you.
Sweet.